ouch, those Bend, Oregon home prices are really high. Can you afford to live here? How much income do you need to earn to buy a home in Bend? Well, there are so many variables in that question, but to answer it I'm just going to give some basic general examples. So you're going to have to do some homework and take these numbers and apply them to the conditions in your life and in your finances. Let's talk about income. The median income in Bend for a household is around $75,000 a year. Now, is that enough to buy you a single family home in Bend? Let's see. I'm going to take for granted a couple things. One of them is that you've got some money saved for a down payment, and in the example, I'm going to use 20% as a down payment. Now, that's a high down payment. If you put less down than that, of course, your monthly payment is going to be higher. The second thing is your interest rate is highly dependent on your personal information, your credit history, your debt to income ratio. So there's no way I can know those things. You really just need to talk to a lender and find out what numbers, you're really going to have to work with. And interest rates, as you know, interest rates have been all over the place, but mostly rising recently. And so they're very close to 7% right now, which seems super high because they were down in the 1, 2, 3% range for so long, but that's just not normal, historically speaking. So I wouldn't expect them to go back down there. There is talk, depending on who you listen to, that interest rates may go down into that 5 to 6% range sometime this year. Hey, I'm going to take just a second and ask you to like this video, subscribe if you want to, and I always love to hear your comments. So please comment. In these examples, I'm using 6.8 as the high-end interest rate that you might be able to get right now, but you had to have good credit to even get that rate. So it varies so much, but these are just some rough numbers for you to go by. So in this example, I took the least expensive single-family home listed for sale right now in Bend. It's at $450,000. It is a smaller home. It's only about 1,200 square feet. It is up at the north end of town, and it is very close to a railroad track. So you could say that this is not an ideal location, although it is close to all the shopping at the north end of town, so that's not a bad thing. So that monthly payment is just over $2,600 a month, and that includes your loan, your principal and interest, your homeowner's insurance, and your property taxes. So all combined, that number is just over $2,600 a month. So how does that sound to you? Does that sound affordable? It is what is available in our market, and that's the lowest price home. So just think, if you wanted to buy a home in the $500,000 to $600,000 price range, which is more typical, your payment is probably going to push up to around $3,000 a month. So that number, the $3,000 a month, has to be less than 36% of your gross income. So that should give you some idea of whether a home in Bend would be affordable or not. You might consider house hacking, meaning you buy a home that has 2 or 3 bedrooms more than you need, and you kind of push the top of your purchasing limit, but then you rent out 1 or 2 rooms to other people, and that way you are investing in real estate and those people are just renting from you. So essentially you become a landlord in order to build wealth for yourself. That's the way to do it. One of the questions that the comment brought up on my last video was, this person was asking about what would you have to give up in order to buy a home in Bend? In other words, what are you sacrificing? And in this case, this home is very small, so you're sacrificing square footage. You might be sacrificing location because it's not what people think of as an ideal Bend location, might be a little closer to the downtown core area. Or even in one of the larger developments like a Polish or a Hayden Homes development where you have some amenities. You might have to sacrifice a decent layout. It might be a funky kind of layout in a home, maybe close to a railroad track or some other kind of noise factor. Maybe a main road might be nearby. maybe a smaller lot, or you may not have things like air conditioning. You may have baseboard electric heating, which is not the most efficient or cost effective. So you might have to give up a lot of things to get your toe in the door and get a home. But honestly, that's what most people do when they buy their first home. So if this is your first home, hey, don't sweat it. Get your toe in the door and get a home. It's going to increase your wealth over time. If you're sitting on the sidelines waiting, I would not advise you to do that. I would advise you to get ready, prepare yourself for home ownership, and talk to a lender and see what you can do. And if you want, call me and I'll refer you to a great lender here in Bend. I can help you figure out what might work for your budget. And, I'm willing to work with any budget. So as long as you're approved with a lender, I'm good to go and we can shop for a home that works for you. So hopefully I'll see you here again next week.